Hello, hello! My name is Bella, and welcome back to the 100 Acre Wool Knitting Podcast. This is a place that I like to share with you some of the things that I've been making recently, and that's usually knitting related, sometimes some sewing thrown in there. And today I have a lot of knitting to share with you guys, so we'll get into that. And then I also did a giveaway last week, and I'm going to be announcing the winner of that giveaway today at the end of the episode. So if you would like to find out if you won the giveaway, make sure to stay tuned to the end. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. So I hope you've had a lovely week this past week. I was so happy and excited to finally be able to go to the movie theaters and see a film. It has been quite a while since I was able to go to the movies last. I think it was February 2020 that I last went to the movies. So it was just so exciting to kind of feel like we're back in normal life again. Definitely we aren't yet, but just the fact that movies are opening up again and we can kind of go about our lives with masks on and being vaccinated. It's a lot safer than before. So that's just been really fun, kind of getting back to normalcy with some of those things. And I've also been bringing along my knitting wherever I go. A lot of places when I go out, I'm getting to knit in public again. So I'll share with you a couple of the things that I've been working on recently. I think we'll first start with my Boleyn cardigan. So this is a project that I've been working on for quite a while. It's part of our Tudor Roses KAL, and if you're not aware of our Tudor Roses KAL, I will leave a link below to our Ravelry group page. We're doing a Tudor Roses knit along. It's basically all around the Tudor Roses book by Alice Starmore, knitting some pattern from that book. If you would like to join, that's really all that's necessary. So I won't go too much into the KAL. But if you would like to learn more, there's links below that you can follow. So I've really been trying to work quite a bit on this project, trying to knock out quite a few rows, because it does just take me a long time to knit. And I am knitting this for our KAL, and it kind of needs to be done by the end of the year, because that's when the KAL ends. Or at least that's kind of the deadline that I'm putting for myself, is the end of the year, the whole thing needs to be finished. So this is the back portion here. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get, okay, there it is in the frame. That's the whole thing so far. So this is really the only piece of it that I've worked on. I also made the belt, which is going to go in kind of the back right here. There's a little belt that goes across. I've also knitted that, but this is really the only thing that I've gotten done so far. And it's taken me since, I think I've been working on this since March, maybe April. So it's been a while, but I am making progress, and I really have tried to crack down on getting more rows done in this project specifically recently, because I do have a lot of projects that I kind of rotate around and I just do a little bit of a lot of things, and I think I want to focus more on getting more done on fewer things. So that's kind of my goal recently. Anyways, I think I've gotten quite a bit done in the past couple weeks. I started on the arm decrease shaping here. So basically the back portion, the whole thing is knit in pieces, and then you seam them up at the end. So this is also a set-in sleeve. So you knit from the bottom up, and then you start with the arm decreases. So I'm decreasing in this way, and then now I'm just getting some length here for kind of where the back portion is, like the upper back. So that's what that looks like so far. And there's baubles and cables and so many minute, beautiful little details in this. I think I'll insert a close-up photo because it's just so beautiful how many details are in this and how delicate and it's just so simple and elegant, I think. So yeah, this has been really fun to work on, but still quite a process. And it's been so much fun getting to see all of your guys' enthusiasm about this pattern. I think it's just so cool how many people have really reached out to me and said, you know, like, these colors and this pattern that you're making, it's just so beautiful. It is Alice Starmore's design, it's her design, but I did change the colors that I'm using to knit this. So it's Alice Starmore's Hebridean 2-ply yarn, which I love the yarn, by the way. Oh my goodness, it's such a gorgeous yarn. But anyways, It's her yarn, but it is different colorways than the original pattern or the original design. I kind of went with a lighter colorway here. And I've been posting it on my Instagram page, which follow me if you would like to. I'll put the link to that as well down below. But I've been posting some photos of it and just gotten some wonderful comments and lovely feedback about how much you guys love this kind of color version. And then I've actually seen a few people start knitting this in this colorway as well. So that's just been really, really fun to see. People doing this same design with this same colorway. And I think they're just turning out so gorgeous. I really, really love these colors in this design. I mean, all of Alice Starmore's colors, all of her colorways in the Hebridean 2-ply yarn, oh my goodness, all of them are just so gorgeous. They're kind of inspired by the Hebrides landscape and all inspired by nature and, you know, those natural colors of the landscape and of the animals and of the flowers and just everything. The sky, the boats, the water, everything. So beautiful. I'm obsessed with nature and, you know, those kind of tones and colors. So they definitely speak to me. So yeah, it's so much fun to see you guys really enjoying this pattern and enjoying this design as much as I am. So I've really been trying to work on this quite a bit, and I have made some good progress. So let's see, I think I measured this is probably 4 inches that I've gotten done in the past few weeks. But yeah, I need to keep going because I still have to knit the front 2 panels and then both of the arms. It's still quite a bit. Yeah, and let's see, we're in August now. Yeah, August. So not too much further in the year to finish this entire thing up. So yeah, lots of knitting. Lots and lots of knitting to still do. So I was measuring this. I've had a little hiccup, kind of. A little bit of hiccup, kind of, with this. So I've made a point, a very clear point to you guys, I think, that especially for this pattern, you need to have your gauge pretty spot on so that the pattern comes out as intentional or as intended. I kind of made that very clear, I think, and tried to do that myself. I made a big point about knitting a gauge swatch and making sure that it was exact before I started knitting this, the actual garment. And I had to knit a gauge swatch actually a couple of times to get the right gauge. But I was measuring this and just kind of measuring to make sure I still had the correct gauge, just because it is quite a bit of knitting and it's very, very a very tight gauge, a gauge that I'm not used to. So I was just kind of double checking my work and making sure that it was going well. And oh my gosh, I feel like I'm a hypocrite now because my gauge is off. How did that happen? I don't know. Did I just mismeasure it in the first place and think it was correct? Or I have no idea what happened. I could have sworn it was exact when I made the swatch. But yeah, I measured it again and somehow I am off by a few rows. So I'm not thinking it's gonna make so big of a difference that it will matter. Like I'm not thinking it's not gonna fit. It might actually fit me better this way because basically I think how it's going to work out is that it's going to be slightly smaller than it was supposed to be. But that might be okay because my measurements are actually a slight bit smaller than the pattern that I'm making, than the size that I'm making. I'm knitting the size small in the pattern, which is the smallest size of the pattern, but my measurements are just slightly smaller than that. So it might end up equaling out to be my right size. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I'm hoping that it doesn't go crazy, or I'm hoping that it'll work out in the end somehow. Luckily, I think with the measurements of things, she tells you, sometimes she has you measure in rows and sometimes she has you measure in inches, if you know what I mean. I don't want to spoil the pattern, but hopefully that makes sense. So I think since she's having me measure in inches, it'll work out to be correct. I think I'm going into that way too much. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. We'll see. But then I was also kind of concerned about the yarn. I was kind of concerned, like, oh, am I going to have enough? I hope I don't run out, because that's like always my greatest fear with knitting. Oh my goodness, I'm being so dramatic. Oh goodness, that's so silly, but you know what I mean. You don't want to have to order a new dye lot and not have them match up. At least I don't want that experience. But anyways, I think it'll all work out. I think it'll all be okay. And I'm just trying to like calm myself down. It'll be okay. No, it's okay. I'm just being silly and dramatic. But yeah, so I think it's gonna turn out okay. Yeah, it's still really beautiful, and I'm still really happy with it. And the fabric that's coming out it feels really nice, and a nice denseness that it's gonna have structure, but it's not so dense that it doesn't move. Yeah, I'm happy with it. It's going well. So yeah, I think that's everything I'll say about this one for today. And again, if you would like to join the knit along, there's still a bit of time left. And this is one of the more complicated patterns, I think, in the Tudor Roses book. There's definitely some lesser complex, probably would take you less time to knit. If you would still like to join the KAL, yeah, please do join. So the next project I have to share with you is actually a finished object. Yay! Finally have a finished object. I think it's been a few weeks since I shared a finished object. But this is a project that's been in the works. I've had it on my needles for over 2 years, or is it almost 2 years? I don't know. A long time. And I was finally just, you know, it needs to get done. It needs to go. I have way too many works in progress, and it's just, you know, it needed to happen. So I finally finished my friend's socks. So these are a pair of socks that I talked about in last week's episode. Kind of went into the details of what these are and why I'm making them. They're for my friend. It was for Christmas in 2019. I was making these for him. That didn't work out it didn't work out that I gave it to him during Christmas because COVID happened, and oh my goodness, we were separated. And I couldn't go see him in person to try on the socks to make sure that they fit. So I had knit one of the socks, I finished one of them, and then I was able to see him pretty recently and try it on, make sure it fit. Because I had to I wasn't using a pattern for this, so I kind of had to make it up as I went along a little bit. Was working off of a different gauge than the pattern and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to make sure that they fit him because I had actually knit another pair or another sock before these ones and it didn't fit him. Had to rip it all out. So yeah, it took a while to finish these, and it's been a labor of love, these two. But yeah, they're finally done. So this one I had cast on a little bit more recently, and I think I was about here last week or so on them. They're bottom up, or toe up, I guess. So then, yeah, like a week ago or so, I just powered through it one day and just knit the entire rest of the sock. And I was like so excited when I was finished. I was like, yes, they're finally off the needles. They're finally finished. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of more satisfying when something takes you a long time and then it's finally finished, or at least it's been on the needles for that long that it just feels, it's like a weight off of your shoulders to finally have it done. Even though this isn't complex of a pattern or anything like that, just pretty simple vanilla socks. So yeah, these were toe up, and I did kind of use a pattern for these. It wasn't a pattern for this yarn, so that's why I kind of had to change it quite a bit and, you know, adjust the gauge and the stitch count and everything. But the pattern that I was using is a very pink pattern. I will link it down below. I think I said last time it was free. It's not actually free. I don't know why I said that. I misremembered or something. But yeah, I'll link that down below if you would like to see what this was based off of. And yeah, it's a really good pattern. It's actually the pattern that I learned how to knit socks off of. It uses worsted weight yarn originally, so the socks just fly by. I think I finished a pair once in like a day or 2 days. No, yeah, it took me 2 days to knit 2 socks. So fly by, they just fly by. These ones didn't fly by because it's a fingering weight yarn, so that took me a bit longer. But yeah, I'm just so excited to finally have these finished. They're finally done. Yay! Yeah, so those have been blocked. They're all finished. And now since I have showed them in the podcast, they will be going out to him. And, you know, they'll be in their new home soon. Yay! And then the other thing that I have to share with you guys today is another sock. So if you have followed my channel for any amount of time, you've probably seen me talk about my hat that I've knit for my grandma. This past Christmas, I knit my grandma a hat, a colorwork hat, and it was kind of based off of a pattern by Alice Starmore. Are you sensing a trend? I really like Alice Starmore. Her patterns are just so beautiful and elegant to me. But there was a pattern that I saw from Alice Starmore called the Marivelle du Jour hat and poncho kit. They're kind of a duo, but I really wanted to just knit the hat. So I wanted to use Alice Starmore's pattern, although she only includes the pattern in kind of a whole kit. You have to purchase the yarn and the pattern for the poncho and the hat, which I only wanted to make the hat. So long story short, I just decided to kind of take inspiration from the hat and kind of make my own version of the pattern, just make it up all by myself. I don't have the original pattern at all. And then used different yarn entirely because I did want to change some of the colors. So that was the hat that I made for her. I'll put a picture here so you can see that if you don't know what I'm talking about. So that was the hat I made for her. And then I gave it to her as a Christmas present, and she was so in love with it. She wanted a matching pair of mittens and also socks to go with it. So that's kind of been my project this year so far. It's taken me so long. Oh my gosh. Why am I so bad at making presents for people? It just takes me a long time. Goodness. Anyways, I'm getting through them. It's coming along. So this mitten, this is the mitten, or one of the mittens that I'm making for her. So I shared this with you guys a couple of podcasts ago. So this is the matching mitten to go with the hat. And then she also wanted some socks. So I was going to make her the other mitten. I was going to finish off the pair. But I can't think about color work right now. Like with the summer heat and it's really, really hot in Los Angeles, I just couldn't even think about color work. I don't know, color work to me is just synonymous with coziness and getting warm, you know, by the fire and kind of more wintry fall kind of feelings. And we're definitely not there yet. So I just couldn't really wrap my head around color work for now. So I decided to cast on the socks for her instead. So that's what I did. So this week I made one of the pair of socks for her. And these ones are top down, so cuff down actually. So these ones I decided to not do the color work on the entire thing. I thought it would be just too much brain power to try to get all of those. I mean, you saw the motif. It's quite a complex motif, and trying to get that into socks with all of these, you know, twists and turns and you know, all of the twists and turns that go into socks. I just didn't want to have to figure that out for this pattern. And also since it probably wouldn't really ever be shown, because I think she wants to wear these out and about and in shoes and going walking places. So I'm using the same yarn as the hat and the gloves, yes, the mittens, but only for this top little section here. So this is the part that I made match the other two. So this is just the same ribbing that's on the bottom of the mittens and then also the brim of the hat. This is just the same little motif here. And then I chose a very similar color of a different, this is also dropped yarn, so I'm using dropped yarn for all of this. These colorwork colors up here and the mittens and the hat, they were all drops alpaca yarn. But then for the sock part, for the actual, you know, most of the body of the sock here, I'm using, I think it's Drops Nepal. I think that's which one it is. It's alpaca and I think wool and also polyamide. I believe that's the blend. I don't remember the percentages. I'll probably put them here if you're curious. But it's just kind of probably a more structure, or sorry, what am I trying to say? It's probably a better wearing yarn since it has the polyamide in there and also the wool. It'll probably wear better than just the straight alpaca. Yeah, so that's why I chose that one. And yeah, these were just really, really fun to knit, kind of mindless and easy breezy. I did use a pattern for these. So I used the Boleyn sock pattern, her kind of free pattern on her website. She has a top-down kind of vanilla sock pattern, really, really easy to customize, and it's just really useful. I've actually also been teaching how to knit. I've been teaching my partner's father how to knit, and he's been knitting socks. He's really wanted to knit socks. So I've kind of been tweaking the Boleyn pattern to work with his yarn because he's using some different yarns. But that's also been really fun. So anyways, yeah, been using that pattern. So it's really easy to customize, and it's also free, so that's great. So yeah, a great vanilla sock pattern. I will put it down below, put the link down below if you're curious to check it out. So it's just a cuff down pattern. So you start the cuff in the round, and then you make the heel flap. It's a slip stitch heel flap here, maybe you can see that, and then the kind of heel turn, I think it's called, and then you keep knitting down and you do your decreases, and it's just kind of easy breezy in the round. And then I did a little Kitchener stitch here at the end to finish off the toe. So yeah, I'm hoping my grandma will really like these. It was much quicker to whip this up than the mittens or the hat, so maybe I'll have these finished for her very soon and she can at least start wearing the socks, and then maybe I'll have the mittens for her once it gets a little colder and she could actually use the mittens since it is still very, very warm here. It's August, which is kind of getting into fall, but our fall basically lasts until November, if I'm being honest. So yeah, it'll be a while before she can really wear the mittens. But yeah, so that's one of the socks for her. A really great pattern, a really fun knit if you're kind of just wanting some mindless stockinette in the round knitting there. I did do these magic loop. I'm trying to remember all the things I wanted to say about it. I did make these with magic loop, and I was kind of missing my little circulars, my miniature circulars. I've been knitting my Yell cardigan, the sleeve on my Yell cardigan. I've been using 9-inch circulars to knit that, and it's just kind of amazing how you can just go around and around and around and there's no end. It's just so much fun to me. And I was kind of looking for that. I was like missing that in these because it's small circumference thing. So I think I'm probably going to want to order the Chiaogu sets of the small circular needles in all of the different sizes because it's just so fun. It's really, really fun to knit with those. So I think that's everything I'll say about this one for today. And now let's get into the giveaway raffle drawing. So in last week's episode, I shared that I would be doing a giveaway of a spin cycle skein that I got on my trip. You can go check out that video if you haven't seen that video. But I asked you all to comment if you would like to join the giveaway. So let's do the comment kind of raffle selection here. Alrighty. And drum roll, please. And the winner is Patrick Van Hoof. That's a cool name. I really like that name. So Patrick, you've won the giveaway. Please email me your information so that I can get that sent out to you. The skein of yarn, and then also the cute little tote from Fiberspace. My email is in, I think, the About page on this channel. It's 100acrewool@gmail.com. So please email me your information so I can get that out to you. And thank you so much for watching. Alright, so that's everything that I have to share with you guys for today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to like and subscribe down below if you're not subscribed already. And I will see you in next week's episode. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.